Hello, hello, good morning, SPANily. It is Monday, the 20th of August. My name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel, I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse and toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So if that sounds good to you, hit the subscribe button and we'll just get started. So while I'm waiting for my chat to pop up, I will go ahead and I will share with you a few things that I read this week. So one of them was a U.S. news article of all things, and it talks about a bunch of different things, one of which is a bunch of different misunderstandings or myths about narcissism as we understand it. So the first one that they mentioned was that it's really, really high self-esteem. So the myth is narcissism is really just high self-esteem. Well, that's not really true. And in this case of toxic narcissists, and I'm not even reading from the article right now, just from my own personal knowledge, toxic narcissists they lack empathy. That's the difference. Everybody has a little bit of narcissism because narcissism in its basic form is just self-interest. The fact that we get up and get dressed in the morning, we eat some food, we go to work, we try to pay the bills, do all the things, all about narcissism, self-interest. But when we're getting to the point where we're tipping from somebody who takes a few too many selfies, maybe is a little bit selfish, to somebody who is damaging other people and being toxic and maybe potentially could be diagnosed with NPD or narcissistic personality disorder or even any other sort of cluster B disorder, then we're talking about people who are toxic narcissists. They don't have empathy, they have the big sense of grandiosity, a lot of other issues. So it is not. And in fact, here in the article, it even says that according to the expert Jean Twenge, a psychology professor at San Diego University, she says the key difference is that people high in self-esteem focus on relationships, and narcissists are missing that piece of caring about relationships. And I think that's absolutely the truth. She also goes on to talk about how they're entitled and they live in such a way that they don't want to have close emotional friendships or relationships. They don't care. And that they're always constantly seeking validation of their own self-worth. I know you're shocked. Right. People with high self-esteem don't need to do that in real life. So that's pretty cool. Another thing, number two, they said was that you can spot narcissists by how happy they are with themselves. That was a second myth. And we all know that's not the case. And basically what they're saying is that a lot of people are picturing, your grandiose narcissist types, right? But they're saying, well, but what about the coverts and the vulnerable narcissists? We can't always tell by looking at a person that they are a narcissist. There are certain myths that go along, as a lot of you guys are aware of. The third one they mention is that do-gooders cannot be narcissists, which is where they talk about communal narcissism, which I also call altruistic narcissism, where they kind of almost do good in order for other people to think they're amazing and not so much for themselves. Does that make sense? I hope you guys can hear me. I just realized. Hello, hello. Let's see. You can hear me, right? I will assume that you can. Hello. Okay. So let me finish this up really quick and then I'll come say hi to you guys. So basically people who are so selfless, but really they're just doing it in order to get, recognition or whatever from someone else. Then we got down to the fact that number four, they say deep down, all narcissists are insecure and have low self-esteem. And they say that's not true. Of course, there are some who do, but they say, according to this expert, she says basically deep down inside, narcissists think they're awesome. Now, I think that's true up to a point, but I think they all have this little core wound that makes them think, okay, well, I have this, it's almost like they're afraid everybody's going to find out they're not as awesome as they say they are. It's almost like this fear of being unmasked. Does that make sense? The fifth myth that they talk about is maybe narcissists have a good reason for being narcissistic. Maybe if they think they're especially, attractive or smart or popular, they say in some cases, they're right. In some cases, they're wrong. And I just, like she says at the end of this paragraph, basically they're legends in their own minds. Some narcissists actually do have something to be proud of. Others, not so much. So I think it's just a matter of, whether or not it's irrelevant, because the point is that yes, some narcissists have accomplished some things, but ultimately, like we talked about on Friday, the biggest thing is that they're emotionally immature. You know what I mean? So that's really where their main issues lie. They are sometimes very successful in other areas of their life. So, number 6, narcissism can be healthy. And again, it's not true. I'm not going to go into all the details. Y'all know, in the case of toxic narcissism, it is not true. Number 7, you have to be narcissistic to be successful. Not true. Number 8, social media causes narcissism. Not true, but certainly it offers a platform for narcissism. You know, I would think in some cases. Number 9 being that you have to love yourself to love someone else. And I think they say that's false. I think it's true, but not in the way that a narcissist loves themselves, because I don't think a narcissist really does love who they are. And number 10 being, unfortunately, people who are narcissists are unlikely to read self-help books. Number 10 being, you can change a narcissist. And we've already talked about this 150 million times. Certainly it might be possible, but I've never seen it happen. It's unlikely. So let me get over here to the chat and say hello to all of you amazing people. Good morning, everybody. Okay, we have, oh, my nose is so itchy, sorry. We have Kiara, we have Robin Thomas, we have Pam Hall, Jesse Brown, Breon, hello, Breon with your beautiful face, and The Beauty Within, and Catherine Smith, Christina Marcioni, hello, Feisty Taco, hello, I really like that name. Hey girl, hey Melissa, how are you? My cat just walked on in and decided to help herself to my office space, which I dislike, but it's okay, she's being cool right now. Hopefully she won't tear my face off. Terry Ellis is here. Hello, Robin Thomas. Hello, Rod Nelson. Yay, you're here. Melissa says, Angie, why do drug addicts act like narcissists? That's a great question. And it's actually an interesting answer. Part of it is the fact that, of course, dealing with narcissists, you know that we become addicted to them. They kind of become addicted to our supply or whatever. But they also play this... My kitten is crazy. Hello everybody, there's my cat spot. They also do this thing where when it comes to dealing with a narcissist, they act like drug addicts because they're always in search of supply. Whatever they're addicted to supply. So when they are addicted to supply, they need your attention, they need attention of other people, approval, whatever it is that supplies them, right? Your anger, your frustration, whatever. But what it comes down to, okay, now she's trying to kill my lights. What it comes down to is that they also need, drug addicts need whatever their supply is, right? So if they're addicted to heroin, they will do whatever they have to do to get the heroin, even if that means stealing from their mom or their grandma, even if that means hurting someone that they love in real life when they're not acting in active addiction. Does that make sense? So that's what it comes down to. It's about during the time that they're actively in drug addiction or alcohol addiction, they'll do whatever they can do in order to get their needs met. And that is very similar to a narcissist. They have no ability to care about what other people think when they're craving the drug or whatever it is that they're trying to get hold of. Does that make sense? I'm sorry for taking so long with that. The cat climbing up here is really throwing off my groove a little bit. Good morning, Miss Maggie. Good morning, Jen Archer, Janine Marie. Hello, hello. Mark Silverwood. Mark Silverwood. Hello. James F says, "What y'all up? Hey y'all, what up? Today I'm thankful to be away from my toxic ex. Beautiful stuff, my friend. Absolutely with you. Hello, Carrie Ann. Hello, No Narcs. Hello, Ron Nelson. Frankie Robertson. Eileen. Hope. Melissa. Deborah. Robin Thomas. Angela Falsetta. Deborah, having a bad day, had contact with my narc. SMH, take my head. Deborah, I'm really sorry. I totally understand, but let's turn it around, baby. Don't stay focused on what happened. Stay focused on what you want it to be from here forward. You know, I know it sucks that you had to contact, but as long as you didn't, jump back in and recommit, it's just a little bump on the road. And even if you did, you can always jump back out. Just remember, it's a process. Melissa says, what makes people selfish their way or no way? Well, part of that is similar to the issue, but I think it all comes right down to the lack of empathy. I know one narcissist who was originally, originally claims to have not been a narcissist, not that that word was ever used with this person, but claimed that in previous relationships, he was somebody that allowed everything to be okay, and then he got into a new relationship, and he in previous relationships basically lost himself in the other person. And then as an effort to change his life, he decided in new relationships he would not change himself for the other person, but then he went too far to the opposite extreme, where he was so cold and so stuck in his ways that he ended up losing a really good person, because she was like, hello, you have to compromise a little bit in this relationship. So it is what it is. I think it just depends on the situation. But with narcissists, it's the lack of empathy, the lack of concern for how you feel, or how someone that they're with or near or involved with in any way feels. All right. Happy Monday, Miss Jen. And Stacy's rainbow sparkling heart in the house. Hello. Deborah, hello. Angela Falsetta says there's got to be a way to not be selfish and not be a people pleaser. Yeah, sure. I mean, look, what it comes down to is that some people are going to say you're selfish mostly because they expect you to act differently. You have to find that balance for yourself. You can be a little bit selfish if you need to be, but it doesn't, the balance is that you help when you can help without hurting yourself. Okay, so if you have one shirt and somebody says, can I have your shirt? And you will be naked without that shirt, don't give them your shirt. If you have two shirts and you don't mind wearing the same shirt every day, and somebody's going to, then give them your shirt if you want. Don't put yourself, and that's a really basic proverbial situation, but don't put yourself in a place to be incredibly uncomfortable to help someone else. Don't put your own needs on hold to help someone else, unless it's an absolute emergency and someone who would also do the same thing for you if the situation were reversed. Does that make sense? Let me know your thoughts. It's about boundaries mostly. Doreen, hello, hello. Melissa, hello. Lisa Christensen, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. She said, sadly, I am back and with the same problem you've healed me from before, except this time he got saved and did not change. And did change, and we were back together, so now he left me for a narc socio stalking me. Yeah, the thing is, they do change temporarily sometimes. As far as getting saved, I don't know if you mean in general, or you mean like as in saved in the Christian church. My nose is so itchy, I'm sorry. In any case, a lot of times religious transformations confuse us and we think we see change, or they can appear to be real change. I'm glad you're back. I'm sorry that you're back under these circumstances. But stick with us and let's try to get this fixed up for you. Now, I do have a couple of videos on stalking, but are you saying to me that your narcissist is stalking you, or are you saying to me that that your narcissist's new supply is stalking you? Let me know. All right, let's see here. Misty Dawn, hello, thank you. She says, hope everyone's having a good day. No Narc says, I just learned the real meaning of malignant narcissist and realizing the ones I know are exactly that. Scary, right? I know. Deborah, hello, hello, says Angela. The Beauty Within says, my ex-narc lives in the community and always has a front row seat in church. Common, yeah. I know people like that, actually. And I even have clients right now dealing with the same thing. Almost identical. It's crazy. Yeah. It's common. Do you have a question? Christina Marcioni says, my narcissist messaged me after 2 months, even though he got new supply and she doesn't match up. Whatever, I'm not playing this game though. My covert narcissist. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That's hoovering. I would suggest that you block that person and continue to stay no contact, because otherwise you're going to get sucked back in and become part of the circle of supply. Let me know your thoughts on that, Christina. Linda Kay says, sound is great. You look fabulous, by the way. Thank you and welcome. And Brooke Dale, hello, hello. Angela Falsetta says there's got to be a middle ground. Yeah, there is a middle ground. It's a hard place to find it, but it's a matter of, how do I put this? Like for my children, I'll bend over backwards, no problem. But I'll still have limits, like if I'm trying to hurry up and get a video done and they're like, blah, blah, well, I'll say, guys, give me just a minute. I need to finish what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So it's, you don't have to be a total jerk about it. But like if my kid came to me and I was trying to hurry up and finish a video and then they said, I have a horrible problem. I need to talk to you. It's really important. Well, I would say, okay. And I would stop doing what I was doing and stop worrying about my deadline because my kids are more important. Does that make sense? But then if it's somebody like a neighbor or somebody that I don't really talk to in real life, or somebody who's, asking me for a favor and I'm in the middle of doing something, or I'm with my family, then I'm going to probably ignore that person or tell that person I'm not able to help them right now because I'm dealing with my family who's important to me. Does that make sense? So my point is, you have to have values, ethics, boundaries, and you have to know what they are, and you have to live by them unapologetically. Does that make sense? Does that help at all? All right, let's see here. Here, Jen Archer says, I had to skip a funeral of someone I cared for because I have left my everyone. It was tough. Right. Sometimes we have to do that, but it's not, the funerals are for the living, not the dead. So you did what you had to do, and it's okay. You can remember your person in the way that you best remember that person, Melissa says, by nature, I'm a giving person and it makes me happy. Yeah, I totally get you. And The Beauty Within says, narcissists lie to themselves as well as the world. Yes, indeed, they do. Good morning, Jillian. Yes, I did, and I responded to your email. Sorry for missing you. Thank you for the backdrop comment. Cindy says, hi, Angie. Thank you for your help. Thank you. Hope says, I'm so excited for this week. I'm hoping to land a part-time job. Fingers crossed for you, Hope. I really hope it works out for you. Congratulations, everybody. Hands up for Hope. Robin Thomas says, yeah, I think the core wound is that they know they're terrible people. My narcissist wanted me to hate him. I think it's because I was unmasking him. Robin, there's something to that, but yeah, I do think a lot of them are just plain horrible people. But a lot of them got that way because of some wound in childhood. Sometimes they were bullied at school horribly, or sometimes, they had a parent who was abusive, or another person in their life that was a big influence who was abusive. And sometimes they were just spoiled rotten brats. I think it just depends on the narcissist and the situation. But I know a lot of people are confused by that because you see a lot of empaths and a lot of, people they call codependents, like we have been in our lifetimes, where, empaths, as far as we feel people. And I think that's why narcissists are attracted to people like us, because we want to help them, improve their life somehow or make them feel stronger or whatever. But codependents, as in people who come out being people pleasers, people who want everybody to be okay, those are the other type of child that a narcissistic parent can produce. And in both cases, they're unhealthy, but codependents can change and grow and become healthy and stop being codependent, or at least be recovering from codependency. Narcissists, I've never seen it work for them. But I think the core wounds are very often similar to our core wounds, but they are just, the way that they chose to process and deal with them was different, if that makes any sense. All right. Melissa says, the issue is I attract users. Well, I think we can all relate to that, Melissa. And I'll tell you what, I've done videos on that just recently. I'd love for you to check them out when you get a minute. Moonchild Susanna, where were you? Let me see here. That's, first of all, a great name. Let me find her. Maddie, Angela. Okay, well, it's up here somewhere. I lost my place. I hate when that happens. Here we go. Okay, Robin Thomas. Moonchild Susanna. Hello, she says. Hello. She says, hi, Angie. Happy Monday from across the pond. Why do narcissists always cheat? My ex is a terrible cheat. So many reasons. So many reasons. A lot of times they're bored. Sometimes they, think they need to prove something to themselves. They want extra supply. They're distracted. They think that, they need to... so many reasons. Ultimately, bottom line, though, it all comes down to the one reason, and that's that they don't have empathy for you. And so they don't think about how it's going to make you feel, how it's going to affect you. And I think that's a big, huge part of it. I think it's human nature up to a point to, I think it's human nature up to a point to start with, okay. So there's a lot of proof in biological studies that shows that by nature humans are almost wired to cheat, especially males, right? Our society and our ethics prevent a lot of us from going there and doing that. But I think that human nature would lend to that. So why do narcissists cheat? Because they don't. The reason that healthy people don't cheat is because they care about how that other person feels, and they care about commitment and monogamy and all of that kind of stuff. So it's just a matter of being aware of what you can and cannot do and still hurt a person, I guess. I think that, but I've done videos like with much more detail and explanation, and I would suggest that you take a look at those to start with. Moonchild. Hello, Jen Archer. Oh, she says hello to Jillian. Lisa says, hope, good luck, praying for you. Melissa says, or people would take advantage. Yeah, she attracts people. We all do it. We all do it. Kiera says, Angie, can you explain the definition of a vulnerable narcissist? Well, yeah, it's somebody who doesn't appear to be a narcissist. A lot of times, they appear to be, oh, poor me all the time, and really they're manipulating people by using that. But they also don't usually like themselves as much, or at least as openly, and they may have solid set in stone rules for themselves and everyone around them, but they're like secretly arrogant. Like people who know them might think they're humble and awesome, or maybe even a little shy, but really they're secretly sort of arrogant and think they're above everyone, but they also hate themselves in the process. I can go into more detail if you want. I've done videos on it. Let me know your thoughts. Jen Archer. Jesse says, my dad barely left the house. We don't feel the negative energy anymore. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's really like a big cloud they carry around with them, isn't it, Jesse? Oh my gosh, I know. The Beauty Within says, social media is another major source of supply for validation. Oh, yes, indeed, for sure. Hey, Narc Alert, how are you? Isabel says, help with depersonalization, not even feeling real or like a human. Oh, sweetheart, I totally relate to that. I spent a long time not feeling real or human. I spent a long time feeling like everyone else had more valid thoughts and opinions and beliefs than me. I totally relate to this feeling. So a few different things you can try. This is where, I know it sounds cliche, but where mindfulness really comes in handy. So one of the things you can do, for example, is start being aware of your circumstances where you are right now, okay? So right now, I'm going to tell you, I want you to do this with me, okay? Think in your head or say it out loud if you want. So right now, I'm wearing a red dress, and it goes right above my knee or so. I have no shoes on. My feet are touching the floor. I'm sitting in a gray chair with a little pink cushion in it. And I'm sitting in front of a green screen with a backdrop. My point is, think about where you're sitting, where you're standing, what you're wearing. Think about how your body feels right in any moment. Brush your teeth, take a shower, anything like that where you can feel your body in the moment is a starting point. The other thing you have to do is start working on distancing yourself from the non-person that you became with the narcissist and start deciding who you want to be from here. It is a very difficult place to be, and especially if you never felt like a whole person in the first place, which I didn't, but I got there. You can get there, and I'll tell you something. I did a video a while back called Uncomfortably Numb. I suggest you check that out and then stick with me and we'll help you get through this. Hello, KMK. Hello, Sildushi. Hello. Good morning from NL. Hello, hello. Netherlands. I have a great-great-grandfather that came from there, I think. Isabel says, hello. By the way, I love everything you do for us. Thank you so much. Melissa says, something I wish I could just be heartless. I've wished the same thing, but in reality, being an empath is a blessing and a curse, like somebody just said the other day. But it is ultimately, the difference is that you can evolve and change and grow and become happy, and the narcissist cannot. So there's that. There's that. Sharon Kaluba's here. Hello, she says. Thanks so much for the advice last time in your talk. My pleasure. I hope it was helpful. Jen Archer says, good multitasking there, Angie. Well, thank you. Keith says, hello. Hello, Keith. Cindy says, my ex called me randomly late the other night. I'm confused. Yeah, be careful. It's probably a Hoover, an attempt to suck you back in or get a little extra supply from you in the process of whatever is going on. Angela Falsetta says, oh, Jen, I just went through that myself. I went at opposite times. The narcissists were there. However, it was still very uncomfortable. I got looks from my family, probably hearing smears about me. Yeah, that's very difficult. I know it is. I know. Susan says, the beauty within, we must have been married to the same small little boy. Right, Susan, how are you? Sophie B, hey girl, hey. Yeah, some narcissists are also drug addicts. Some drug addicts and alcoholics and things like that, when they get sober, when they stop being in active addiction and they start being in active recovery, you will see a big change and they'll be like, I am so sorry I treated you that way. But then you've got probably an equal amount that goes through the same thing and comes out the other end and still acts like a jerk, still acts like a narcissist. So it just depends. Yeah. Robin says, plus it's not even our jobs to change a narcissist. Truth. How cute. Jillian says, now try not to chew your nose. I know, right? Robin says, plus it's not even our jobs to change a narcissist. Absolutely true. She said, I signed on for a partnership, not a 24/7 job, in regard to that changing a narcissist myth. Truth. That is important. And true. Brookdale says, could drug addiction be mistaken for narcissism? Yes. Yes, absolutely it could. It looks just like narcissism while they're in active addiction. It looks just like narcissism. But to get them to stop is a whole other ball of wax. And also, I certainly would try for someone I loved, but I wouldn't try to the point to my own detriment that I lose more than I need to lose in that process, if that makes any sense. My point is that if you make, give it the good college try, do what you can to make it okay and make it better, and it doesn't work, then you still have a toxic person on your hands regardless of why they are toxic. Do you know what I'm saying? I hope it's a little helpful. Hello, Tay B. Welcome. Jen Archer says, yeah, there was a good 300 people in town that I was trying not to see. I feel like staying inside. I said goodbye from here. I'm okay with it. Totally understand, Jen. I totally understand. Maddie. Purple Belt is here. Says, hello, Angie. My ex-narc moved across the state with our son for hockey. Now, apparently, he can only be there 4 or 5 days a month. How do I even attempt discussion? That's weird. Moved across the state with our son for hockey. Now apparently can only be there 4 or 5 days a month. Your husband or your ex or your child? Let me know. But if you're talking, I think in any case, attempting the discussion, it's going to be tough. Are you saying that you want to move your child? I guess I need to know more information about the discussion. Purple Belt. I'm sorry. Hyunju Lee says, love your tabby kitty. Thank you. Sophie B says, Angie, what if the narcissists keep inserting themselves in your life and it's a group of them? They reach out to others or myself. This is a tough one. And the best thing you can do is block anyone who is acting like a flying monkey, at least temporarily. Or if you think they're doing it in good faith, like they really believe they're trying to help, then you can reach out to them and say, listen, I know you're just trying to help, but you're really causing me a lot of stress, and I'd appreciate it if you would stop doing this person's bidding. Other than that, if you're not sure that it's completely innocent, then block them or just step back emotionally from them. If they're inserting yourself in their lives in any way other than, it's very difficult. They try to reach out to others or yourself. I would tell the others in your life why they can't deal with these people. And for yourself, I would block each person who tries it. That's what I would do. Hello, Sarah Cotgrave. Jennifer says, can you explain how not engaging in the conversation is part of control, please? Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. So what you mean is gray rock here, and how when you don't shout back, you are in control of the situation. So why that's control in the situation? Are you talking about yourself or the narcissist here? Because when the narcissist doesn't engage on purpose, like to gives you the silent treatment or doesn't react to you, well, then they put themselves in control because you're left wondering and spinning. And basically the same thing applies when you reverse it. So I guess, are you talking about, and I can give you some more details, but I guess I need to know which way you're talking about, Jennifer. Doreen B says, my selfless narcissist just left me and my daughter buried in trash, literally. Oh my gosh. She said last night after he announced we have no more money in the account, sorry, relief, but a huge mess and nightmare. Oh, honey, last night, I'm so sorry. How are you doing? Are you okay? I guess if I were you, I would, it's terrible. I'm so sorry. Melissa says, yes, it does. Thank you. I have a friend who's in recovery. I'm struggling to understand. Yes, it's very difficult. I know it is. I know. Lisa says, Brookdale, yes, it can. That was the situation with mine. Angie showed me he is a drug-induced narcissist. Off the drugs, totally different and caring man. I gotcha. Okay. Misty says, I thought mine was just a drug addict, but then I realized he was a covert narcissist and there's so much more to his evil. And those are probably the most dangerous types in some ways. Christina, my pleasure. Sarah Cotgrave says, I saw my ex-narcissist, but gray rocked him. Very good. Okay. So in this case, what you're doing is you're not giving him the reaction he's expecting. You're staying calm. You're not allowing him to have any of your emotions, at least not that he's aware of, right? The reason that gives you control is because, number one, you probably diffused very quickly any sorts of BS arguments he tried to start. And number two, because quite simply, you're not giving him the supply he expects and wants from you. And so that puts you more in control. Okay. Keith says, good call. Thank you. Kiera says, how do you deal with the dread of knowing there's a narcissist in your life? Well, I always recommend no contact if possible, low contact if not possible. And outside of that, I guess I need to know what you're asking me. How do you deal with knowing there's a narcissist in your life? Are you saying you just found out? Are you saying just the constantly having to deal with the narcissist? Do you have an escape plan? Give me more information, please. Maddie says, Brooke, I believe that most narcissists have multiple addictions, alcohol, porn, etc. And I think there's some truth to that, but not in every case. Jen Archer says, Jennifer, no contact is what I've been doing. It's getting better every day. It's been a month. I still need to move further, but slowly remembering me. Good. Misty Dawn says, great job to Sarah. Melissa says, very good person, but mood swings. What advice would you give to support a friend who is struggling with recovery without draining yourself? Well, I think number one, again, I would ask you to set boundaries. And I would remember that sometimes there's a reason that somebody goes into recovery, and there are people in place who are actively able to support that person through recovery. And so, do your best, but also say, don't be afraid to utilize those resources in recovery, like your sponsor and your group and things like that. And you can even say to that person, listen, I really want to support you, but I don't have experience with addiction. So maybe you could talk to your people there, and you and I could do this here or whatever. The other thing is to give yourself some boundaries and stand behind them. Don't allow that person to, encroach on your private time that you have with yourself or your family or whatever. Make sure that you make clear the boundaries and don't apologize for them. I don't know if that's helpful at all. Let me know your thoughts. Kit Kat says, weird pattern happening for me. Great days during the week. Very high, happy I'm doing it, and then a complete crash. What is this? It's like I'm not letting myself be happy. You might want to read the book. It's called, gosh darn it, what is it called? I'll think of it. I'll bring it to chat tomorrow. I'm reading it along with another book right now. Basically, the concept in this book, Kit Kat, is that we have this threshold where we think, I can only be this happy. And we have to break that. We have to go past that. And so we limit ourselves. It's possible that you're not letting yourself be happy. It's also possible that you're trying so hard on those good days and you're pushing yourself beyond the point that you should. And maybe you're crashing because you're exhausted mentally and physically. So maybe give yourself, even on the days you feel like going 100 miles an hour, maybe slow down and go 55 or 60. You know what I mean? Give yourself a little space, a little wiggle room. You are responsible for everything right now with your kids and your home and all the things. So even though you are so much happier than you have been before, you still have to give yourself a little grace and give yourself a little space and take some time for just yourself. Is that possibly where it could be coming from, Kit Kat? Let me know your thoughts, especially with it being patterns and stuff. And the other thing is, if make a journal. This actually worked really well for one of my clients. Make it like on the calendar. If you have a good day, put a smiley face. If you have a bad day, put a frowny face, or whatever works for you. And then go back and look at patterns, right? So if you notice that every Tuesday you have a frowny face in the morning, maybe like Tuesdays you take the morning off and you don't go to work till noon or whatever, and then that's your time to kind of refresh and regenerate yourself. Self-care is what I'm saying is so important, especially at the stage that you're at right now in your recovery and you're going through this whole thing, Kit Kat. Sarah says, thanks to Misty Dawn. Keith says, I got tired of it after a while. I started treating them like strangers. That's smart. And that's exactly what it comes down to. I used to tell people, and it really does work. If you've ever worked in customer service, when you're dealing with a difficult customer that you act different than you would in other situations. You're not super friendly, but you're also not super, rude or disrespectful. You're just real neutral and you try to stay calm and keep them calm. Well, a lot of times when you're dealing with narcissists that you can't get away from, this is a great place to start. So think of them as a difficult customer or client. Yeah. Hello, Edith. CPTSD, that's right. Kit Kat from Isabel, and I think that's part of it, but I think it's beyond that. I think part of it is remembering to take care of yourself in the process. I don't know, tell me if you think I'm wrong. Angela Falsetta says, yeah, Jen, I think you should be proud and just keep doing you. Go outside and be you. Easier said than done. Those narcissists and people who believe them matter at people who don't believe them. Lisa says, Kira, get out while you can. If you can, Tell that he has no remorse or feelings. Trust me, it only gets worse. Yeah, absolutely. Sophie B says, it's a smear campaign going on forever, and they love participating, so it seems to be a never end. A group and the F. I'm guessing your ex. Mr. James F., Angela says. Good advice, Angie, says Melissa. Thank you. I can't get away, said Sophie B. I'm so sorry. Hello, Sarah. Kit Kat says, I'm still being accused of being bitter and angry. It's just not true. I won't ever let him in again, and I feel for my kids terribly as well as his new supply, but he shouldn't pretend he knows me anymore. Well, that is probably part of the reason that you're feeling kind of like you're crashing. And so again, you know, maybe if you feel like you want to respond to him when he says that, you could say something like, it's okay if you need to feel that, but truthfully, I'm very happy now. Thank you so much. Or something like that. Or just say nothing and let him say whatever he's going to say, because as we all know, narcissists, you can't change their mind. So just let him, you know, or you could even say, I think it's interesting that you still pretend to know me. You know, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Kiera, Maddie says, can you do an exit plan? Go to queenbeing.com/plan, PLAN, and check out what I've got there for you. That might be helpful. And hello, Sparkly Ann. Melissa says, I was told boundaries are too many rules. Yeah, I'm sure. But then maybe you don't. Maybe you need to just make those boundaries a little firmer, because that's obviously, are you sure this person isn't trying to overstep beyond, well, tell me your thoughts. I don't know. Jen Archer says, Angie, I'm confused about your ghosting video. I left everyone without saying anything. Am I a ghoster person? No, and the truth is that video was, the difference between going no contact and ghosting, in my opinion, is that when somebody ghosts you, it's completely unexpected, and that's because you've not done anything to deserve it. When you go no contact with someone, they've done enough, and you've made your effort, and you've tried to do what you can do. It's a totally different thing. And I know it's confusing. I think I've made a video about that as well, if you want to check that out, Jen. Keith says, the smear is usually longer than you realize. True that. Yeah, Lisa says it was a Christian thing. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not going to go into all the theology of it or anything like that. I'm not going to tear apart anything, but I will tell you that I've seen narcissists pretend to be saved in various ways, especially in that way, and turn out to not be. So I'll just leave it at that. Feisty Taco says, I left 2 weeks ago. Now he's talking all this religious BS. Well, there you go. There you go. Yeah. That's common. It's also common when people go to prison. Sometimes they'll have a big religious awakening, and it's a matter of, I think, being desperate and trying whatever they can to get what they want. Rainbow Jelly Bean says the same as Kit Kat. Understood. Sophie B says, it was an ex-wife, then a stalker, then my friends. Then I rejected someone, and they all bonded through hate, and they're trying to hack my accounts. That's insane. That's insane, and I suggest changing your password every week, blocking all of them in every iteration that you can, and locking down your social media really tightly for a while till they get over it. The group gray rock, as it were. And if you're fearful for your safety, then you need to go to the police. And if you think they're actively trying to hack your accounts, I think you can go to the police for that as well, depending on where you live. Yeah, it's illegal. Okay. All right, let's see here. Okay, I'm just about to run out of time. I've got just a couple of more minutes. Hello, Beth. And I want to really quickly... Isabella, I don't think Mr. James F. is your narcissist. I don't think it's the same guy. He's been here a long time. Beth says, hi, Kit Kat. I feel the exact same way. Very hard to trust anyone. It's hard to live. Yes. When you're in that place, Beth, don't jump into any relationships with anyone. Take your time and be okay with being by yourself sometimes, or being with people you already know and trust. It's no reason to rush ahead. You know what I mean? Always take care of yourself first, and then consider allowing other people back into your inner circle. It's a process. Kit Kat says, I'm floored that he started having the new supply did all his work for him. She's like a new employee. Definitely just as codependent as I was, and it turns my stomach to watch it. It's sad. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. And Kit Kat, what you see there, honey, is you see the circle. Okay, you see proof of the fact that, number one, it really wasn't you. He's playing the same, relationship pattern he did with you. And number two, it really wasn't you, because now he's doing the same thing to her. And I know I said that already, but trust me, It wasn't you. Ileana, hello. Sophie B says, I don't know what to do anymore. It's like injury after injury. I have no idea the whole, the depth of the situation, Sophie, but I can tell you if there's anything you can do to block them, lock down social media, stay away from them, that's a starting point. Don't be afraid to call the police if they're breaking any laws at all, and do your research on what the laws are. Even call the police station and explain what's happening and see what they can do to help, maybe. Isabel says how to help with depersonalization, not feeling real at all, not feeling human. Yeah, that's exactly what we kind of talked about a little while ago. Maybe that was, I know I'm probably a little behind on chat, but Isabel, but let me know if you have additional questions on that. Okay. Oh, Lisa says he was a drug-induced narcissist like what you told me. I was the one that we were both friends for 34 years, but he would not remember. Oh yeah, wouldn't move out. She said his narc knew is the girl stalking me, and he doesn't think it's true. Ooh, okay, that's a tough one. I would not be afraid to report her to the police or any other entity that would be able to help with that. Get a restraining order, things like that. It doesn't matter if he doesn't think it's true. Document everything that she's doing. Whether even if you just write it down in a journal, but if at all possible, take a video, take a photograph of this behavior, especially a video, but a photograph if necessary, and just keep yourself on watch, be vigilant at all times, or consider moving if that's an option for you. Jen Archer says, I had a 22-year stalker. He's currently locked up in an institution. Don't ignore it and get help if you need it. I didn't, and I still regret it. So now you see, this is serious. And so don't be afraid to go to the police if somebody is doing that to you. All right. Brooke Dale says, I lived with my narc for 3 months. Before I learned there was a drug problem, I watched him change into the monster he is today. I've seen that same thing. Yes, I've seen the same thing. Hope, they call you arrogant because they're projecting. That's not you, that's them. Trust me. They're probably calling you arrogant because they're jealous of something that you have accomplished or can accomplish that they couldn't or won't. I'm guessing. Kit Kat says, I'm so proud of my daughter. She found her voice for the first time. Told him she would rather have grandma watch him while I'm at the beach. Self-care. She said he agreed, but sent 10 texts chastising me. Well, I'm sorry that he sent those texts, but good for her for standing up, and good for you for not allowing him to bully you into it, because I know that's really possible. Angela Falsetta says, thanks, Angie. That was precious to me. My pleasure. Beth Brandon says, possibly overjudging certain people. That's the way perhaps people become after severe cluster B personality disorder. Oh, I've seen that. Yeah. Don L, hello, says Angie's doing a saint's work here. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate you. Nicole says, hello. Hello, Nicole. P.S. I love the background, says Kit Kat. Thank you. Tanya Franklin, hey, girl, hey. She says, I had court 3 times last week alone. Oh, my goodness. Court-appointed attorney dismissed my son's restraining order and reduced it to civil court. I told my son I would lose my support if RO was granted. What? Oh, my gosh, Tanya, I'm so sorry. Keep us posted. What's going to happen next? Okay, guys, I'm so sorry. I've got to rush off. Wait, one last question I'm going to answer, and then I'm going to really go. Nicole says, okay, so narcissism is caused by poor parenting. Not always. Not saying always. Sometimes. Not always. But almost always we can look in their childhood and see something that happened with either a parent or a student, a fellow child who abused them in some way, or a teacher, or some other big influence on their life who treated them a certain kind of way. Yes, we can almost always look back and see that. And sometimes it's just that they were spoiled rotten brats, to be fair. But there's almost always some kind of a core wound that looks that way, from what I've seen. Okay. You guys, I'm so sorry I have to rush off, but I do. I will see you tomorrow for Talk to Me Tuesday. We will be on Dana's channel tomorrow during the day. I may pop in the morning if I have a chance beforehand, but otherwise 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern, I think, or so whatever she's on. 12:30 my time, Central time, tomorrow on Dana's channel, Thrive After Abuse. So make sure you check that out. And if possible, if I'm able to go live tomorrow, I'll let you guys know through the text, which is, if you want to be added to that list, it's text the word Angie Live, ANGIE LIVE, all one word, to 33222. Or you can just hit the subscribe button and the bell notification here on my channel. I also try to post in the SPAN group and the myspanily.com site as well for those who are interested in attending live sessions. Thanks so much. Tomorrow will be a little longer than today. All right. Hugs and love, everybody. As always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. Thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. And don't forget, you're never alone. You've always got your SPANily. Make sure, if you are interested in knowing about the stuff, that you sign up for the things. And please, wait, I wanted to ask you one more thing. I don't know what it was. I'll probably think of it as soon as I hit the end button. Have a wonderful day, you guys. I will see. Oh, by the way, I hit 50,000 subscribers today, so thank you. Stay tuned because I'm going to be doing a little giveaway and stuff like that. So, all right. Hugs and love, everybody. See you soon.